Hello and welcome to yet another video. This is the 5th episode of the story, in which Naruto discovers a bracelet that allows him to wield the weapons and gear of legendary heroes while looking at the Forbidden Scroll. Naruto uses this power to become the ultimate ninja of the elemental nations. Please like and subscribe to show your support. Let's get the show started. After leaving Sasuke in the care of Guy as he returned back to the Hidden Leaf, Naruto and Jiraiya continued on the road in search of Tsunade for her to become the next Hokage as well as heal the injured, which includes Kakashi and now Sasuke. "Hey pervy sage, who were those guys working for and why are they after me?" asked Naruto. Kurama and Tsunade were listening with rapt attention to learn more about those two missing nins. Jiraiya was silent for a moment as if contemplating whether to tell him or not before finally speaking up. "Those two are members of an organization known as the Akatsuki, a group of strength missing nins. Formerly they were simply mercenaries for hire, but I've learned from my spy network that they have been going after people with massive amounts of chakra, a Jinchuriki to be exact." "You mean that they're going after the tailed beasts inside of them? Then that means they'll go after Gyachin and Fuchan," said Naruto with realization. "Yes, I've been trying to find out why they're doing so, but I can figure so far is that it won't be beneficial for the whole elemental nations." Naruto clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles turned white. Tora mewed softly as to comfort him. "Those guys see the bijou as nothing more than sources of power, while they're not going to hurt my loved ones as long as I'm still around. I'm not going to let them do as they see fit." "Naruto-kun," said Kurama as tears flowed out when she heard his declaration to protect her and the other bijou. "Naruto-sama, know that I shall assist you in any way possible," said Tsunade. "Thanks Tsunade," thought Naruto before turning his attention to Jiraiya. "I admire your spirit, kid. You have truly inherited the will of fire. The major reason why I requested you to join my search was to devoted most of the time to train you to get stronger for your future battles. I can tell that they're going to be the ones for the history books." Naruto smirked at his godfather. "Well, what are we waiting for? Christmas? Let's down straight to it." "Whoa, take it easy kiddo. First thing you need to know is that while I'm training you, I also need to gather information for Tsunade's whereabouts as well. Word has it that she never stays in one place for too long and tends to change her appearance in order to skip out on her debts," said Jiraiya. "Okay, but you better not slack on either of those two or else I'm gonna have to bust a cap up your ass," said Naruto with a dark look to show that he really meant it. Jiraiya shivered from the look as it reminded of the time he tried to peek in the women's bathhouse again where Naruto's girlfriends were in at the moment. Then Naruto found out and chased him around the village again while swinging the blades of Athena around. Okay, I got it. Anyway, we're here." Jiraiya and Naruto stood before a long railing and looked over to see a large town which was built at the bottom of a large crater. As they walked through the streets, Naruto saw many stalls selling foods, toys, games and other stuff with people buying things and or just conversing amongst themselves. "Whoa, this place is amazing," said Naruto with Tora mewing in agreement. "Looks like there's a festival going on around here. How about some downtime before we can start your training?" said Jiraiya. "Okay, I could buy some souvenirs for the girls while I'm still here," said Naruto as he opened his backpack to take a frog wallet whom he fondly named Gamakan, which was obviously full of money due to how puffed up it looks. "Whoa, that's a lot of money you got there," said Jiraiya. "Yeah, I've saving some of it for my missions, especially the one when I went to the Land of Waves," said Naruto with glee. "But about your inheritance?" asked Jiraiya, not wanting to reveal anything since they're currently standing in the streets where anyone could overhear. "I don't want to rely on it yet, only when I really need it. Besides, it feels good to spend money which you have earned." "That's great, you're honoring one of the 3 prohibitions. If you weren't, I would have taken your wallet for safekeeping," said Jiraiya. "What are the 3 prohibitions?" asked Naruto curiously. "The 3 prohibitions are temptations that would lead a shinobi's life to ruin. They're alcohol, pretty women, and worst of all money. Well, you wouldn't have to worry about that. I don't drink yet, I already have girls who love me, and I'm not too materialistic to want to use money to buy a lot of stuff. Besides, I get the feeling that you would have used my money if I gave it to you, said Naruto, narrowing his eyes at Jiraiya, who suddenly found the skies interesting to look at. Anyway, I'll catch you later. He walked off with Tora sitting on his shoulders. I keep forgetting that he's mentally older than he looks sometimes, thought Jiraiya with a sweat drop. Naruto was walking through streets and staring at the stalls when he saw a certain stall that was selling accessories, and saw a few which caught his eye. He walked towards it and was greeted by the owner of the stall. Hey there kid, see something you would like to buy for your girlfriend? Asked the owner. Yeah, quite a few to be exact, said Naruto looking at the items on the shelves. Well, go ahead and pick what suits your fancy. With Kurama's help, Naruto was able to buy some accessories which he was sure that the girls would love. For Sakura, he bought a kimono bracelet with cherry blossoms on it, a necklace with a lavender flower motif for Hinata, a hair clip which has beetle wings design for Fu, a purple brooch for Ino, a pair of bun covers for Tenten, and a pair of earrings crafted to look like snowflakes for Haku. He bought a red ribbon with cat paw prints for Tora, much to her happiness. Then they left to check out the other stalls. What do you think we should do next, Tora? Asked Naruto. Tora sniffed the air a bit before raising a paw to point at something. He looked to see a food stall where a man was selling salty grilled sea bream on a stick. Shioyaki, good idea, let's go get something to eat, Tora mewed in agreement. After sating themselves with the food from the festivals, Naruto went to play some games and won a lot of prizes which he sealed away in a storage scroll which he intended to give a few to Konohamaru and his friends. Where do you think the pervert is now? Asked Kurama with a look of annoyance. Naruto walked along the street, wearing a fox mask which he bought from a mask shop. Don't worry about it, Kuchin, it won't be so hard to find that perverted godfather of mine. Sure enough, they heard familiar laughter and they traced the source to a clubroom. See what I mean? They peeked through the curtains to see Jiraiya sitting on a couch with two women on both sides and is visibly drunk. What can I say? I love the ladies, said Jiraiya with a perverted grin on his face. Then he noticed Naruto standing at the entrance. Oh hey kid, had your fill of the festival already? Naruto and surprisingly Tora were giving him deadpanned looks. That I did, and I can see that you're having fun too. And since we both had our downtime. Naruto walked over and grabbed him by the back of his collar and proceeded to drag him out of the club despite protests from the perverted godfather. Wow, how manly of you, why don't you stay for a bit so that we can get to know each other, said one of the girls with a seductive look in their eyes. You stay away from my Narukin. Kurama yelled angrily, even Tsunami was glaring at them through Naruto's senses. Sorry, but I'm already taken, Naruto said politely before he left as the girls whined in disappointment. Jiraiya was complaining while getting dragged along the street. Oh, come on Naruto. I hadn't my fun with those pretty girls yet. You should talk, you told me about honoring the 3 prohibitions and yet I find you breaking all 3 in one go. Seriously, what kind of pervert are you? Asked Naruto. It's quite obvious, I'm a super pervert, said Jiraiya with a perverted grin on his face. Naruto sighed to himself, wondering why he even bothered himself to ask that question. Soon, they were at the outskirts of the town and Jiraiya had sobered from his drunken state. Now then, let's get down to my training. Alright Naruto, just give me a moment. Jiraiya reached into his pocket and took out a scroll. He unrolled it and channeled chakra on one of the seals, which released a bag full of water balloons, much to Naruto's confusion. What are these water balloons for and where did you get them? I sent a shadow clone to buy them when I was walking around to gather some information, and the reason I bought them was for your training, 'cause I'm going to teach you one of your father's signature techniques. The Rasengan. Hearing that, Naruto got excited. Really? I've read about it, that it was one of the techniques that made him well known. During the Third Great Ninja War, that's right. He got the idea from watching one of the tailed beast use the tailed beast ball, and it took him 4 years to fully master the technique. Kakashi and I were taught the Rasengan by him, and it's only right that I should teach his son the technique, said Jiraiya. Alright pervy sage, let's get down to business, said Naruto as he reached for the bag and took out a water balloon, although Tora jumped off his hood and maintained a certain distance away from him so as not to get wet in case the balloon pops. There are 3 steps to mastering the Rasengan, and this is the first step. Jiraiya held out a water balloon and bulges could be seen on it until it burst. He was spinning the water in the balloon with his chakra, said Tsunami. I recall among the chakra control exercises, you mastered the tree climbing and the water walking exercise, right? Asked Jiraiya, and received a nod from Naruto. Well, in the tree climbing exercise, you learn to gather and maintain chakra in one place, and in the water walking exercise, you learn to release a steady amount of it. I think I get it, so I use the tree climbing technique to gather and maintain chakra in my hand, and then I use the water walking technique to release a steady flow. That's how you popped that water balloon, by spinning the water inside of it, right? Asked Naruto. That's right, Naruto, you totally got it. Now let's begin your training, said Jiraiya with a smile. A few hours later, Naruto wasn't able to pop the first balloon, and no matter how fast he tries to spin the balloon, and it was beginning to frustrate him a bit. Darn it, why isn't the balloon popping at all? Am I doing something wrong? Naruto grumbled to himself. Naruto, which direction are you spinning the water balloon? Kurama asked curiously. I've been spinning it to the left. Why? Asked Naruto. That explains why you've been having so much trouble. You're actually a clockwise rotation type. What do you mean by that? According to the archives, there are 2 types. One is a clockwise rotation type while the other is a counterclockwise rotation type. It's important for one to know which rotation type they are, as there is jutsus that require the rotation of their chakra, and if you rotate in the opposite direction of your natural rotation type, then it will counteract with each other, said Tsunami. And since I'm sealed inside of you, I could tell by looking at your chakra system, said Kurama. Thanks for the help, girls, I appreciate it, thought Naruto. He tried it again, but this time in the right direction. The water balloon was bulging a lot, but it still wasn't close to bursting. Still no good. I must be missing something. Why not ask Jiraiya to show the technique again? You might find out what was missing, said Kurama. Naruto nodded in agreement and got up before walking over to the toad sage who was relaxing against a tree. Jiraiya looked up to see Naruto approaching him. Hey kid, have you done it yet? Not yet, but could you show me how you popped the water again? Asked Naruto. Alright, I'll show you again. Jiraiya took a water balloon and started to spin it again. Naruto watched closely as the balloon appeared bumpy on the surface before it burst, and then he realized what he was doing wrong. That was it. That's what I was doing wrong. Naruto grabbed his water balloon and concentrated his chakra into it, then the balloon became just as bumpy as Jiraiya's before it burst as well, much to his joy. Alright, I did it. Way to go, Naruto. Kurama said happily. Jiraiya was surprised. Wow, so how did you figure it out? Well, when I was watching you spin the water in the balloon, I missed the fact that you were spinning in multiple directions while I was only mine in a single direction. So when I asked you to show me again, I was able to find the missing piece to the puzzle. He's really your son Minato, to be able to figure out his problem by simply observing and trying it out. Jiraiya smiled proudly at his explanation. Congrats, Naruto, and that means you've completed the first stage and you're ready for the next one. Now let's find a hotel and turn in for the night. Naruto nodded in affirmation and together they walked back into town. Next day, they were back at the makeshift training ground, and this time Jiraiya brought a bag of rubber balls. So what's the second stage? Asked Naruto. Jiraiya tossed him a rubber to catch before taking one for himself. For this second stage, I want you to pop this one, and let me warn you, it's a lot harder than popping a water balloon, said Jiraiya. He held out the rubber ball and started to look bumpy before bursting, only that it was with more force than with the water balloon. If you recall, the first stage is rotation, but for the second stage it's force. Unlike the water balloon, the rubber ball is solid, which requires you to exert your chakra rotation on it. Okay then, let me give it a shot. Naruto sent chakra into the rubber ball and it started to appear bumpy like before. However, instead of bursting like Jiraiya's, it rather popped a hole and deflated, much to his disappointment. It looks to me like you didn't focus enough power into the ball, said Jiraiya. What do you mean? Let me show you what I mean. Look at this. Jiraiya held out a blank piece of paper for Naruto to see. All I see is a blank piece of paper. Jiraiya took out an ink brush and drew something on it before showing it to Naruto, only this time there was a back dot at the center. Now what do you see this time? A black dot at the center, but does this all mean? You see, when you first looked at the blank piece of paper, your eyes roamed all over it. But when I put in the dot on the paper, your mind completely focuses on it, which grants spiritual stability. When you were focusing your chakra into the rubber ball, it seemed to me that you were doing it without a target in mind, which was what gave you that previous result, said Jiraiya. So you mean that the next I concentrate, I should set a target for my mind to focus on in order to channel my chakra properly. But how do I do that? Asked Naruto. Like this. Jiraiya took out the ink brush again and drew a small spiral mark on the center of Naruto's palm. Now whenever you focus your chakra into your right hand, you should concentrate only on that mark. Now give it a try. Got it. Naruto took another rubber ball and held it forward. He envisioned the mark behind the ball in his mind and could feel his chakra flowing towards it. The rubber ball suddenly exploded with so much power that it sent him flying into a tree. Jiraiya and Tora ran over to check on him. Naruto, are you okay? Asked Kurama worriedly. I'm fine, just little sore, thought Naruto as he slowly got up. Hey Naruto, take it easy, said Jiraiya, amazing, to concentrate so much power that it sent him flying and even scorched his hands. It kinda scares me to think about the results when he completely masters the jutsu. I guess I completed the next stage right, pervy sage? Asked Naruto with a smile as he felt Kurama's chakra heal his hands. That's right, but right now we got to get going. I just received a memory of my shadow clone that Tsunade has been recently spotted over at Tenzaku Town. Alright then, let me just rest a bit and then we can get moving, said Naruto. Meanwhile in Tenzaku Town, Tsunade had just exited from a casino with a serious look on her face, with the raven-haired girl who goes by the name Shizune was trying to catch up with her while holding a briefcase full of money which her mistress had won, and their pet pig Tauntaun was close behind. Lady Tsunade, please wait up, for you to win this much after so long is a miracle. But you don't look happy in the least. That's just it, I never win in a gamble. So for me to win all of a sudden, something bad is about to happen and I can't help but feel this chill crawl up my spine, thought Tsunade. We're leaving this town, Shizune, but Lady Tsunade, this is a tourist resort, so we should take our time to look around, and I've always wanted to look at the historic castle. Then look fast so that we can get a move on. Tsunade walked away with Shizune looking at her in confusion. At the entrance to the town, Orochimaru was leaning against the torii gate while gritting his teeth in pain from his arms. Lord Orochimaru, are you okay? Asked Kabuto in worry. Let's get this over with. The sooner Tsunade heals my arms, then the sooner I can plan to kill Sarutobi and that blonde brat, even if we have to get a little forceful, said Orochimaru. Then they continued onwards into the town in search of his former teammate. Somewhere near the outskirts of Tenzaku Town, Naruto and Jiraiya were standing among a few trees and facing each other. So what's the final step? Asked Naruto excitedly. Just a little more and I'll able to use the jutsu like Dad did. Before we do, let's go over the last two stages. The first was rotation, and the second is power. For the third and final stage, you need to combine the first two stages in order to pass the third stage and master the Rasengan, said Jiraiya. Then he took out a balloon, filled it up with air and tied it to prevent the air from escaping. Then he held it out for Naruto to see. What does it have to do with the balloon this time? Asked Naruto curiously. Let me show you what's going on the balloon. Jiraiya held out his other hand and blue spinning ball of chakra took form. Amazing, the chakra is rotating very quickly but is still in a perfect spherical shape, thought Naruto as he stood mesmerized by the sight of the blue sphere. This is what the third stage is about. You are to draw on your chakra's power and rotation to your hand at its maximum, and then maintain it by visualizing a thin membrane for compression. In other words, I keep up the power and rotation which I learned previously, only this time I should maintain its shape within the balloon and not let it pop this time. That's right, let me show you the difference. Jiraiya walked over to a tree and stood before it. When you mastered the first two stages, this is what you would get. He raised his hand and the spinning sphere took form before he slammed it into the tree, leaving a spiral mark on it. But after mastering the third step, this is the result. He held out his hand for the spinning sphere to take form, only that it was spinning faster. Then he slammed it into the tree again. Naruto was surprised to see the sphere actually grind through the tree before it finally faded away. Amazing, that was all he could say at what he saw. That just shows why it's in a rank getting close to Shrank, said Kurama while looking impressed, since it's a jutsu derived from her and her fellow tailed beast. If you're able to compress the rotating chakra in the palm of your hand, then the destructive power will be at its maximum. But keep in mind that this is the most difficult of all the 3 stages, said Jiraiya. Let me give it a shot then. Naruto held the balloon before him, then he channeled his chakra into it, began to rotate it. He tried to visualize a membrane to compress the power like Jiraiya said, but it was too great and the balloon ended up popping. You're right, pervy sage, it's a lot harder than it looks, just like I said before. Anyway, we should get a move on with our search for Tsunade. You can practice on the road, gotcha. Soon they found themselves walking through the streets of Tenzaku. Jiraiya led them to many casinos and other gambling areas with little luck, as they were told that Tsunade was seen but not for very long. Naruto was still practicing the third stage but was not having it easy to compress the spinning chakra in the balloon as it bursts every time. Later they're in front of an entrance of another casino, looking around for the evasive woman. Hey Naruto, why don't you stay here while I go around looking for information about Tsunade's whereabouts, said Jiraiya. Okay pervy sage, said Naruto with a nod of affirmation before focusing on the balloon again as Jiraiya went inside. A few hours later, he came out and found Naruto sitting on top of a briefcase waiting for him, which piqued his curiosity. Hey Naruto, what's up with the briefcase? Asked Jiraiya. While you were gone, I got a bit bored, so I wandered off and found myself in another casino. Kuchin persuaded me to play a game of poker for a bit despite it being my first time, and I ended up winning the first game. Wait a minute, what do you mean, first game? Well, afterwards, more people joined into play and I still kept on winning until I won up to 1 million Rio. That was when the owner of the casino appeared and asked me to leave, and then I came back here after packing the money in a briefcase. Hold on and let me get this straight, you wandered into a casino and played a game of poker which you ended up winning even though it was your first time at it. Then you won a few more games till you earned just about 1 million Rio just before you got kicked out by the owner for fear of bankruptcy, am I right? Asked Jiraiya with a look of disbelief. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. That pretty much sums it up. This kid has a knack for gambling. Tsunade might attempt to kidnap him and travel to casinos all over the elemental nations with that luck of his, thought Jiraiya. Alright kid, put that money away and let's get going. They continued their search throughout the town, but still no luck. The strangest thing they saw was that a historic castle was destroyed by what the residents were describing as a monster which looked like a giant snake. Hearing this roused their suspicions, and they went to the site of the castle but weren't able to find any more clues. Soon it was getting late and the duo were hungry, so they made a stop at a tavern to get a bite to eat. Why do we have to eat here? Can't we go somewhere else? Asked Naruto. Normally yes, but it's these kinds of places where one can gather information. A bottle of sake tends to make a person's mouth loosen a bit to blab out things they're not supposed to say in public, said Jiraiya. Alright, let's just go in and eat already. When they entered the tavern, Naruto noticed that Jiraiya had a look of recognition on his face as he looked across the room. Naruto followed his gaze until his eyes set upon a blonde woman sitting next to a raven-haired girl and a pig. Tsunade, shouted Jiraiya. The said person stood up in surprise. Jiraiya? What are you doing here? Naruto looked closely at the person whom they were looking for. So that is Tsunade, huh? The person who could have taken care of me back at the village, he thought with a frown. Narukin, please calm down. We aren't here to start a fight, said Kurama. Kurama-san is right, Naruto-sama, you mustn't forget the reason why you sought her out, said Tsunami. Naruto took a deep breath in order to calm himself. You're right, we came to take her back to the Hidden Leaf so that she'll become the next Hokage as well as heal Gigi, Kakashi and Sasuke. they went to sit at the table where Tsunade was and could see that she was quite drunk. They ordered for a food and a bowl of milk for Tora. "It's like a reunion, all the old faces coming back at the same time," said Tsunade. Jiraiya silently drank his cup of sake before speaking. "You must be talking about Orochimaru. He was here, wasn't he?" Naruto frowned upon hearing the name. What was he doing here? Tsunade glared at Shizune as if telling her to be quiet. "Nothing much, he just dropped by to say hello." "She's lying, Naruto," said Kurama with a glare after sensing her emotions. "I know, as if destroying a castle is a way of saying hello to someone. There must be something going on that she doesn't want us to know. But we're going to find out anyway," thought Naruto as he frowned at Tsunade. "So why are you here?" asked Tsunade, raising a cup to her lips. "Sarutobi Sensei sent us to bring you back to the village in order to become the 5th Hokage," said Jiraiya. Shizune let out a gasp while Tsunade almost dropped her cup in shock with what they heard. "Surely you must have heard what happened at the village during the Chunin exams." "I've heard about it. In fact, Orochimaru told me himself about how he wasn't able to finish Sensei off because of a certain interference." "True, but because of that Sensei was grievously wounded during the battle." "Humph." Tsunade grumbled before she glanced at Naruto, who was frowning at her. "Who is this kid and why is he frowning at me?" "This is Naruto, and he is my apprentice as well as someone important to me." Naruto smiled softly at that. "And the reason he's glaring at you, that you'll soon find out." Then Naruto resumed frowning at her. "Huh, then you must be slipping, Jiraiya. From what I'm seeing, this kid looks like someone who doesn't know his left from his right, and he looks like he has a quick temper which could get him killed in battle." A complete contrast from your first apprentice. Naruto clenched his fist in anger at the blatant disrespect which she was giving him, something that Tsunade didn't notice but Shizune and Jiraiya did. "Naruto, please calm down, don't let your anger take over you," said Kurama. Naruto's fists slowly loosened as he tried to relax again. "You may say that, but he has proven to be just as interesting as the 4th, said Jiraiya. "Now what do you think about the offer Sensei has given out to you?" "I refuse. Why should I go back to that village just to throw my life away just like those foolish men? To me, I'm sure that they had nothing better to do with their lives." How could she say that? She trying to say that Dad was foolish to sacrifice his very soul to protect the village? To protect me, thought Naruto angrily. He wasn't the only one, as Jiraiya was glaring at Tsunade as well. "I don't know what happened while you were traveling through the lands, but you've definitely changed if you could say something like that in public." Tsunade simply smirked. "Years have taught me a great deal and Sarutobi should have known better, which is why I can say this. To be Hokage is nothing but a fool's game." When she said those words, a massive killer intent was felt throughout the tavern. Tsunade and Jiraiya were sweating a bit while Shizune was quivering in fear. They turned to see Naruto looking at Tsunade with rage in his eyes. "Tsunade, you have no idea what you have just gotten yourself into," thought Jiraiya. To be Hokage is nothing but a fool's game. When he heard those words, Naruto saw red and leapt across the table to get at Tsunade for what she said. Jiraiya quickly reached and grabbed him to prevent him from getting any closer to her. "Let me go, Jiraiya, she has to pay for what she just said about the Hokages," shouted Naruto as he struggled to get himself free. "Naruto, please calm down. You're causing a scene here," said Jiraiya, struggling to hold his godson back from attacking his teammate, although he himself is angry at what she said. "Please listen to us and calm down," said Kurama while trying to prevent him from accessing her chakra in his rage. "No. She has to pay for insulting Gigi and the other Hokages. I don't care if she's a lady, I beat this hag to the ground," shouted Naruto angrily. This annoyed Tsunade as she stood up from the table and glared at him. "Do you know who you're talking to, you little brat?" "Of course I do. I'm talking to a drunken old hag who sucks at gambling, runs away from her responsibilities and is a no-good coward," he replied. "Then let's take this outside, brat. It's about time that someone makes you know your place, since it's obvious that Jiraiya failed to do that. Though it doesn't surprise me much since he taught the 4th how to throw his life away. Lady Tsunade, please reconsider this," Shizune pleaded to her. Jiraiya sighed as he knew that there's no way he could stop Naruto now and hoped that he doesn't go overboard in his anger. I know that I can't stop you, but don't overdo it, okay? And Naruto responded with a curt nod. Then they moved to the middle of the street as Naruto faced off against Tsunade, who was smirking much to his annoyance. I have to be ashamed of myself, a member of the Sannin taking on an arrogant genin. I know that I can beat you with one finger, said Tsunade. Before I would have said that you shouldn't show off, but I'm telling you to take him more seriously. 'Cause you might regret it, said Jiraiya seriously, which surprised Tsunade and Shizun. Don't bother Pervy Sage, I doubt she'll listen to anything with that stupid belief of hers which I intend to destroy, said Naruto as he sealed away the two Muramasa and took a fighting stance. Music start, Kingdom Hearts 2 OST, Sinister Shadows. Then what are you waiting for, brat? Come and show me what you got, with pleasure. Naruto charged forward at high speed in a zigzag pattern which surprised Tsunade a bit and aimed a straight punch at her face. Tsunade simply smirked and raised her finger to meet the punch and stopped it cold, much to his surprise. She stopped my punch with a finger? Pervy Sage would have had to use his entire hand to do that. Even when drunk she still has great strength. Is that all you got? Surely you've trained harder than this, or maybe this the limit of your power. Naruto growled in anger as he pulled his fist back and performed a roundhouse kick to get blocked by the finger, but he didn't stop there as he jumped and used his other foot for another roundhouse from the opposite direction at her head again, only for Tsunade to duck under it, and he landed on all fours with his back. Then he quickly rolled forward to avoid any attack from her before taking a fighting stance against her flying kick. He charged forward with a jumping front kick. Tsunade simply used her fingers to flick the leg aside, which knocked him off balance, and then she flicked him again on the forehead, which sent him tumbling backwards. Lady Tsunade, please stop this, said Shizun with worry about her master taking this fight too far. Naruto performed a handspring to recover from the tumbling and landed on his feet before placing a hand on his forehead. Even though he was wearing his headband, it still hurt from that finger flick. He shook his head to clear the pain before focusing on the fight. Hey brat, before I knock you out I want to ask you something, said Tsunade. What is it you want? Asked Naruto with a glare. Why are you so angry at me since we never met, and why are you so defensive about the title of Hokage? For the first I won't answer you, but for the second I will. The purpose of being Hokage is something one must never take lightly. Before, it wasn't truly my goal to be Hokage, but if it is to protect all who are precious to me, then I shall make it my dream to be Hokage, said Naruto with determination. Jiraiya simply smiled at his words. Even if you don't become Hokage, you have inherited that protectiveness from Minato and Kushina. They would have been proud of you, kid, he thought fondly. When she heard what he said, especially the last sentence, Tsunade could have sworn that she saw a pale blue-haired man and a young boy whom were too painfully familiar to her standing next to him with the same expression as she took a step back, which Naruto was quick to take notice of. She's distracted, now my chance to launch an attack, thought Naruto as he reached into his ninja pouch and took out a smoke grenade before throwing it to the ground to create a smokescreen. Then a kunai flew out of the smoke, but Tsunade snapped out of her daze and tilted her head to the left to dodge the kunai. She waited for Naruto to burst out of the cloud of smoke to attack, thinking that the kunai was simply a distraction, but that wasn't the case as the smoke cleared to reveal that the blonde was nowhere to be seen. Her instincts told her to jump back, which she did just in time to avoid a dive kick from Naruto, who appeared with a teleport from above which cracked the ground a bit before thrusting out a finger into his chest to knock him back. Then she noticed that he was smirking before disappearing in a puff of smoke. A shadow clone? Then where's the original? Thought Tsunade confusedly. Then she heard rapid footsteps from behind and turned around only to be surprised to see Naruto charging at her with a blue spinning orb in between his hands. Isn't that? But how did he get behind me? I see, he used a smoke grenade to hide the fact that he created a shadow clone before transforming into the kunai, which the clone then threw with the intention to miss so that he could surprise her from behind. Goes to show that he's full of endless possibilities, thought Jiraiya as he watched the battle. Naruto was getting closer when Tsunade raised a finger into the air and brought it down to the ground, which created a wide crack before her and widened in his path. Naruto saw the crack heading his way, so he stopped channeling his chakra into the orb, which faded away as he quickly sidestepped to avoid it, but then he felt something grab hold of his jacket and turned to see Tsunade behind him, and she had hooked her finger onto the hood of his jacket. She pulled hard on the jacket, swinging him around before throwing him across the street as he slammed into the wall of a building before he slumped to the ground. That should teach you not to challenge people who are out of your league. Tsunade turned to leave when she heard a groan and turned back to see Naruto getting back to his feet and glared at her. "This isn't over, not by a long shot," said Naruto as he crossed his arms. Jiraiya's eyes widened upon seeing what he was about to do. "Tsunade, I suggest that you be careful from now on. He's about to trigger his brutality," said Jiraiya. "Brutality?" asked Shizun curiously. "It is a state whereby Naruto would begin to attack ferociously and relentlessly to the point that he would keep on attacking no matter how many times you attack him, like a berserker except with rational thinking. Just how strong is this boy?" Naruto brought his hands down to his sides as he raised his head to the night sky and unleashed a powerful roar. He emitted a certain pressure which made Tsunade tense a bit before charging forward to engage her in close combat. He was throwing attacks left and right as he switched between punches and kicks as if running on pure fighting instincts. By then Tsunade had stopped using a finger and switched to using her whole hand to block and parry the attacks. She gave him a smack to the head which sent him skidding backwards, but he simply shrugged it off and charged right back at her to attack once again. What's with this kid? He ignores the pain to continue his attacks. He doesn't even flinch from the pain. I better stop holding back a bit more. Naruto saw Tsunade attacking with a backhand and crossed his arms to block it, but the impact was powerful enough to send him flying again as he landed on his back with a thud. He got back to his feet and he could feel his arms aching from the pain as he tried to move them. Damn it. That hit was a lot stronger than the previous ones. There has to be a way for me to surpass her strength. I need more power to win. As he seethed in anger, the bracelet glowed bright red before it faded to reveal something in its place. He was wearing a red dragon-like gauntlet that his hand and a majority of the arm with 2 green jewels and 10 golden spikes. Everyone looked in surprise at what they are seeing. Is that a new weapon from the bracelet? I've never seen him use it before, thought Jiraiya. Where did that come from? Could that bracelet have a storage seal inside, thought Shizun curiously. What is that brat up to now, thought Tsunade as she waited for him to attack again with that strange gauntlet. Naruto looked at the gauntlet in confusion. What does this one do? Suddenly the green jewel glowed brightly and a voice could be heard from it. Boost. Then he felt his power increase and smirked. I don't know what it is, but I like it. Then he charged forward to attack Tsunade again. Chinamazon, what kind of gauntlet is Naruto using? Kurama asked curiously while feeling worried for the blonde. Chinami closed her eyes as she scoured through the archives in search of information about the gauntlet. As she found it and read the details, her eyes snapped open in surprise before it turned to worry. Naruto-sama, don't use that gauntlet. It's too dangerous for you to use it. But Naruto was too angry to listen to her as he kept on attacking. Naruto jumped into the air with fist reared back as he descended towards Tsunade. The gauntlet glowed once again and he felt his power increase. Boost. Tsunade raised her hand to catch the punch, but to her surprise the force of the attack was so powerful that she had to struggle, which formed a crater under her feet. What's going on? He never had this kind of strength before. Could it have something to do with that red gauntlet he's wearing? She snapped out of her thoughts when she saw Naruto charging at him. She started attacking him with punches, this time with the intentions to knock him out, but Naruto's brutality was still active as he continued to throw punches and kicks. Boost. Try blocking this with your Herculean strength. Naruto thrust his fist forward and Tsunade responded in kind with hers. The collision of both fists unleashed a shockwave which rattled the windows and doors of buildings nearby as both sides struggled to overpower the other. I'm not done yet. Explosion. Suddenly, his body radiated a red aura as pushed Tsunade back and this time sent her flying from him. He dashed after her at high speed before catching up, then he slammed a straight punch into her gut before crashing to the ground. That was for insulting the past Hokages, and this is for me. As if by instinct, Naruto thrust his gauntlet forward and a small red orb appeared at his hand, then he reared it back as the orb floated in midair and was about to punch it. Take this, Dragon SH, burst. He suddenly felt all of the increased power leaving his body as he collapsed to the floor and the jewel on the gauntlet darkened. He tried to get up but pain ran throughout his whole body as he coughed out blood. What just happened? Why do I suddenly feel so weak and tired? Music end. Naruto, are you okay? Jiraiya was immediately at his side as he helped him sit up and Shizune came and was checking up him with her medical jutsu. I don't know what happened, but it seems like your body has gone beyond its physical limit, said Shizune. That's the power of the boosted gear, said Tsunade. Boosted gear, thought Naruto. It is a special gear that contains the soul of a dragon. It doubles the user's power every 10 seconds and will continue to do so to the point that you even reach or possibly surpass the power of a bijou. That's incredible, but surely there's a weakness for something as powerful as this, said Kurama with a look of surprise at what she had just heard. Yes, there is. Continuous use of the boosted gear will put a severe strain on the body as it can't possibly contain all of the increased power and will drain the user's stamina to a certain degree, and if used without caution, it will also drain their life force. Didn't know that I was using something so dangerous, thought Naruto. Yes, that is why I'll be locking it away until you have trained your body so that it can handle the power, said Tsunade with Naruto nodding in affirmation. He watched as the gauntlet disappeared from his arm, then he noticed Tsunade approaching them with an angry look in her eyes and Jiraiya stepped forward in case she tried to do something reckless. Jiraiya, was it you who taught him the fourth jutsu? Asked Tsunade. Of course it was me, he's my apprentice and he has the right to learn it, said Jiraiya. You're such a fool, why teach something to an arrogant brat that only you and the fourth had taken a long time to master? No wonder why he thinks he can take on the whole world with those foolish teachings of yours. Don't you dare talk to him that way. Just give me 3 more days and I'll fully master the Rasengan, shouted Naruto angrily. Really? Then how about we have a bet, said Tsunade with a smirk. A bet? That's right, I give you 1 week for you to master that jutsu. If you do, then that proves you're right and I'm wrong. I'll even put up my necklace as a wager. Lady Tsunade, surely you don't mean to do that, said Shizune. She had seen her mistress bet a lot of things but she had never bet her necklace, which holds a lot of memories for her. What is so important about that necklace? Asked Naruto curiously. That necklace belonged to the first Hokage and there are only 2 of it in existence. It costs 3 gold mines, said Jiraiya. In that case, you got yourself a bet, said Naruto with a smirk, to which Tsunade nodded in affirmation. However, if you fail to master it in a week, then that means I'm right and you're wrong and I get to keep any money which you have, said Tsunade with a grin. Frankly, I don't care about the money, since you have something else to earn from me and I'm not gonna make it easy for you, said Naruto, getting to his feet after feeling a bit of his strength return to his body. What are you talking about, and why are you so angry with me? Figure it out yourself. Naruto stumbled away back to the hotel which Jiraiya had a shadow clone book a room for them to stay. I have no idea what he's talking about, but I doubt that it has anything to do with me. Tsunade turned and walked away as well, with Shizune following close behind while Jiraiya was watching them leave with a frown on his face. Upon arriving at the hotel, Naruto was meditating on the bed while Kurama was channeling her chakra through his body in order to ease the pain in his body before resting for a full recovery. Naruto, did you have to be so reckless to the point of attacking her like that? You put yourself in danger because you were so angry. What would the girls feel if they heard what you did? Said Kurama. Naruto bowed his head in shame. I'm sorry, Kuchin, it's just that what she said really angered me. Gigi watched over me for as long as I can remember, and if Dad didn't seal you in me, then we wouldn't have met. We understand your reason, Naruto-sama, but you must learn to control your anger to avoid putting yourself as well as others in danger, said Chinami. You're right, anyway I should focus on recovering to my full strength so that I can train on the Rasengan. Then he heard someone knocking on the door. I wonder who that is. He walked to the door and cautiously opened it to see Tsunade's apprentice Shizun. I know that it's late at this time, but there's something that I must talk to you about, said Shizun. What is it you want to talk about? Asked Naruto. It's about Tsunade and the necklace. Naruto frowned upon hearing her name. And why should I bother myself to listen about her? Shizun got angry when he said that. What right do you have to say that? You don't know anything about her. That's just it, I don't know anything about her other than the fact that she left me when I would have needed her. What are you talking about? Asked Shizun confusedly. Naruto took a deep breath to calm himself. Let me tell you, since I feel that you mean well, you know what really happened when the village was attacked by the Kyuubi, right? Since you're her apprentice, yes, that he sealed the Kyuubi into a child, which is you, that's correct, but what you didn't know is that the fourth couldn't bring himself to seal the Kyuubi into the child of another parent, so he sealed it into his own. Shizun stepped back in surprise upon realizing who he is. Wait, so you mean you're... Naruto nodded to confirm her thoughts. That's right, I am the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Gigi told me that Pervy Sage and Tsunade were supposed to be my godparents, which was why I was so angry as they left me behind to be mistreated by the villagers. I was able to forgive Pervy Sage after a while, but she has a lot of work to do, especially after what she said about my dad and Gigi. The room was silent for a few minutes until Shizun finally spoke up. I understand the reason why you're so angry with her, but she wasn't always like that. She used to be kind, gentle and dedicated to the village. But all that changed on that day, the day she lost everything, her hopes, dreams, even her loved ones, and that necklace is all that remains in memory of them. What is so important about the necklace? Asked Naruto. It won't accept anyone wearing it aside from Lady Tsunade. If anyone who isn't worthy wears it, they die. Wait, could it be that the ones who died wore the necklace before? Asked Naruto fearfully. That's right, first it was her little brother Nawaki, then her fiancé, as well as my uncle Dan was the next to follow, and she was stricken with hemophobia. She couldn't stay in the village anymore as the memories were too painful for her to bear, so she still would have left even if Danzo didn't lie to her or probably took you with her, said Kurama. Naruto stood there silently, then he spoke. Thanks for telling me this. I might consider her a little, but I'm still going on with this bet. Shizun was surprised at what she just heard. But if you wear that necklace, you'll die. You still have a chance to back out of it, said Shizun. If I die, then I wasn't worthy to be Hokage and the bracelet had wasted its time on me. Naruto escorted Shizun out of the room and wished her good night before closing it and going to bed. Then the next 3 days, Naruto will be practicing on the Rasengan at a nearby stream on the dead trees. It is the job of the child to surpass the parent. Don't worry, Dad, I'll definitely master this jutsu and make you watch over me with pride. What he didn't know was that Tsunade had been hiding behind a boulder and watching him practice every day, and thought back to the discussion which she and Jiraiya had one night. Flashback start. Tsunade was sitting at a bar and drinking sake when someone sat next to her. She turned to see that it was Jiraiya sitting next to her with smile. What are you doing here? Don't you have hot spring to peep? Said Tsunade. Well, it has been a while since we last sat together like this, so I thought we could catch up on old times, said Jiraiya. Then he ordered for 2 bottles of sake for the both of them. They were drinking in silence until Jiraiya spoke up. Is he still on your mind? Who are you talking about? I'm talking about Naruto, of course. He wasn't what you expected out of any ordinary genin, was he? To think that he could push me that far, it makes me wonder if he's really a genin. Why did you bring someone like him here? Jiraiya looked at Tsunade, who was staring at her glass of sake. Judging by the question that you're asking, it's not just his strength that caught your attention but how alike he is to a certain someone. Tsunade's silence was the answer to his statement. It's not just that, they so much alike it's almost like he's his reincarnation. But why is he so angry with me since I've never met him my entire life? All I know is that Minato sealed the Kyuubi into a child, which is him, and may I ask, who told you that? Asked Jiraiya. One of the members of ANBU told me that Minato sacrificed his life to seal the fox into orphan child. Why do you ask? Said Tsunade confusedly. Jiraiya let out a sigh before replying, that's because you were lied to, that was one of Danzo's men from Root. Take another look at the kid and take off the whisker marks, then what do you get? Tsunade looked deep in thought before her eyes opened in realization. He looks just like Minato when he was younger, could he be? That's right, his full name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. As well as our godson, but how? You should have known that Minato would have never used another parent's child other than his own for the sealing. He would rather die than do that. Tears appeared on the corner of Tsunade's eyes as she attempted to get up from her seat, but then Jiraiya placed a hand on her shoulder and sat her down. Why are you stopping me? I need to go and see him. I advise against that. He's still angry at you, especially with what you said about Minato and Saratobi Sensei, said Jiraiya. Tears flowed freely down her cheeks as she pushed her glass away, not feeling like drinking anymore. I wish I hadn't said those words. I don't want him to hate me. Jiraiya placed a hand on her shoulders and rubbed it. I doubt he hates you, Tsunade. When we first met he beat me up for the same reason and was cold to me for a while. But as time went, he slowly warmed up to me, so I'm sure that the same can happen to you. Are you sure? Tsunade asked with hope in her eyes. Of course, and I know that you're planning on meeting Orochimaru. Upon seeing Tsunade look at him in surprise, Jiraiya continued to talk. Let me tell you something interesting. On the day when Orochimaru attacked the village with his forces, Naruto was at the front lines using everything he has to protect the village and civilians. If it wasn't for him, Saratobi Sensei would have been killed by Orochimaru himself. That snake could barely escape after what Naruto did to him, and I'm sure you saw it for yourself. So that's what happened to his arms. He was very tight-lipped about what happened to it, said Tsunade. Which is why I want you to think very carefully about this, because your decision could affect not just yourself but others like Naruto. I just hope that you would make the right choice. After speaking, Jiraiya got up and left Tsunade behind in the bar to her thoughts. Flashback end. Snapping out of her thoughts, Tsunade turned her attention to Naruto, who was still training in the middle of the night by himself as he left Tora behind at the hotel. I'm so sorry for leaving you behind and saying those things, but I promise that I'll try to make things right between us and take care of you like I should have. She walked away with determination in her eyes. Naruto was walking towards the hotel where Tsunade and Shizune were staying over, with Tora riding in the hood of his jacket as always. Well, today's the final day of the bet, and I'm gonna show her what I can do, but it's strange that Jiraiya wasn't in the room when we woke up, said Chinami. He's probably doing his so-called research elsewhere in order to write those stupid smut, Kurama with a huff. Naruto had reached the room and was knocking on the door, but no one answered it. He knocked a few more times but still no one came to open. That's strange. I thought even Shizune would have come to open the door. He opened the door and entered the room only to see Shizune lying on the floor unconscious and Tsunade was nowhere in sight. He quickly ran over to her and shook her a few times till she stirred awake. Shizune, are you alright? What happened to you? Naruto? Shizune blinked a few times before she sat up abruptly. What day is it and what time? Naruto looked confused for a moment before he replied, it's Monday morning, but why were you lying on the ground? Shizune looked deep in thought before her eyes widened in realization. Oh no, I can't waste any more time here. Naruto, stay here. Shizune got up and ran towards the window and opened it when they heard a groan from outside. Naruto came to the window and saw Jiraiya leaning against the wall while looking completely exhausted. Pervy Sage, what happened to you? Asked Naruto worriedly. Damn that Tsunade, she must have spiked my drink when we were drinking last night. I can't build up my chakra and my body feels so weak. I must be losing my touch if I couldn't detect her slipping that drug into my drink, said Jiraiya. Then he turned to Shizune. I think it's time that you told us what happened when you and Tsunade met Orochimaru before we came. Orochimaru promised Lady Tsunade that he would bring Nawaki and Dan back to life if she healed his arms, said Shizune. Naruto and Jiraiya growled in anger upon figuring out what Orochimaru would really do if she managed to do that. That must be why Shizen was knocked out and Jiraiya was drugged, so that they wouldn't interfere, said Kurama. I doubt she could heal his arms, especially with what Naruto did to him, said Jiraiya. What do you mean? During his fight with Orochimaru, Naruto summoned a special blade that could cut the very soul of a person. Naruto used it to cut off a part of Orochimaru's soul, which are his arms, so there's no way Tsunade can heal them. Even so, we need to get to where they are quickly before anything else happens, said Naruto as he unsealed the Muramasa as they were strapped to his back and waist. I'll show you the way. Shizen started jumping through the rooftops with Naruto and Jiraiya close behind as they headed towards where she had met Orochimaru before. I hope you know what you're doing, Tsunade, just be sure that it's not the wrong choice, thought Jiraiya. Naruto, Jiraiya and Shizen had finally reached the location where Tsunade was supposed to meet Orochimaru, but came upon an interesting sight. There was a large crater at the center and a major part of the wall was broken. What do you suppose happened here, pervy sage? Asked Naruto as he looked around the demolished area. Tsunade has always had a foul temper. Orochimaru must have done something to tick her off from what we're seeing around here, said Jiraiya. Then that means she refused the offer which he offered her, said Shizen hopefully. That may be so, but we need to find her quickly, said Naruto. Walked around a bit before seeing something fluttering on a wall. He took a closer look and saw that it was a green vest with the kanji Gamble written on it. Hey guys, I found her jacket. We could track her by following the scent from the jacket. Taunton, could you show us the way? Asked Shizen. The pig oinked in affirmation and started sniffing the jacket. She oinked again before taking off. Let's go. Naruto followed after Taunton with Jiraiya and Shizen right behind him. Meanwhile, in a grassy plain with boulders scattered throughout place, many craters could be seen around and a large explosion is heard as we turn to see Tsunade standing in a crater and glaring at Orochimaru and Kabuto, who were smirking evilly at her. Is this your finale decision, Tsunade? This could be your only chance for you to see them again. All you have to do is heal my arms in order to make that possible, said Orochimaru. I really want to meet them just one more time from the bottom of my heart. If it was a week ago I would have accepted it. But I've met someone who reminded me of them. They were so much alike, and it was because of him that I remembered something that I was too blind with grief to see. They cared about the village and wanted to protect it, a village that you tried to destroy, and I'll be damned if you even try to do it again, for it will go against their wishes, said Tsunade. Then I guess I'll have to do this the hard way, said Orochimaru. You're not the one who has been fighting her, Orochimaru-sama. Even though taijutsu isn't one of my strong points, but that doesn't mean I'm weak either, said Kabuto. Then he reached into his pouch and took out a small brown pill which he ate. That was a food pill. What does he intend to do? Thought Tsunade. Her eyes widened in surprise when she saw him go through a series of hand signs which she is familiar with. For him to perform those hand signs, it must mean that he knows medical ninjutsu too. Kabuto's hands were coated with blue chakra as he charged forward to attack Tsunade. She parried the attacks, making sure that those hands don't touch any part of her body at all costs. She launched a haymaker punch, forcing Kabuto to backpedal as the punch created a crater on the ground. Then she followed up with a jump kick which was avoided yet again. Tsunade flipped off a nearby boulder and was coming back with a flip kick. Then Kabuto blurred out of sight, much to her surprise. Where did he go? Tsunade was about to land when she felt something hit her right arm and leg. She saw Kabuto next to her performed a shoulder barge to knock him away, but then she noticed that her arm and leg felt a bit numb. I can't move them so well. I weaken those parts of your body so that you won't be able to unleash your full strength, said Kabuto. You're using a chakra scalpel, but why didn't go for the kill by severing an artery or puncturing my heart? Asked Tsunade as she tried to get some feeling back into her arm and leg. True, but to do that, I would need to very accurate and wield a long blade. Both of which are difficult to accomplish in the heat of battle, but it doesn't matter at the moment. Kabuto charged at her and attacked her again. Tsunade got back to her feet and parried them, but her arm and leg are making it very difficult to keep up with him. She went in for a low kick and Kabuto flipped over it and slammed a palm in her chest. causing her to stumble back as she realized that she was beginning to find it very hard to breathe. I can't have you dying just yet, so I doubt that you'll be able to do anything in your current state. At that moment, Kabuto sensed movement to his left but was too slow to react as he felt a hard chop to the neck which sent him tumbling along the ground. Orochimaru was standing at a certain distance watching the battle with a frown. Kabuto, you fool, you underestimated her. She wasn't a member of the Sannin for nothing, that wouldn't have been able to immobilize her, thought Orochimaru. Kabuto got his knees and was glaring at Tsunade, who was gasping for breath. I was too arrogant to think that I had her, I better take this seriously. He was about to stand up when he noticed that something was wrong with his body. Instead of his legs moving, his shoulders are doing that instead. What's going on? Why is my body not moving the way I wanted it? Could it be? It seems you have finally noticed. I converted my chakra into electricity and sent it directly into your nervous system, therefore completely messing with the coordination of your body. Tsunade went a few hand signs and green aura covered her hand which she placed on her chest. I don't have enough chakra for my healing jutsu, but I have to manage with what I can. Suddenly Kabuto got up to his feet and dashed towards her with a kunai drawn, much to her shock. That's impossible. He couldn't have recovered so quickly. You thought you had me there for a second, but it was all for nothing. Let's see how much you would have when you see blood. Soon Kabuto was in front in her with the kunai raised above his head and was about to bring it down. Shadow kick. Next thing they knew, a blur of yellow and green came in between them and sent Kabuto flying back, but he quickly recovered to his feet. Standing in between them, Naruto Uzumaki, who had his foot in the air, lowering it and looking around with a smirk. Sorry if I'm late for the party, but we had to stop for directions, said Naruto. Then he felt killing intent from his left and turned to see Orochimaru glaring at him with hatred. Hey Snakey, how has life been without your arms? I bet someone had to spoon-feed you or worse yet relieve you of your stress every night. Soon Jiraiya landed next to him with a smirk, followed closely by Shizune and Taunton. You know, I was wondering the same thing ever since he ran away with his reptilian tail in between his legs. You pesky brat. I'm going to make you pay for what you did to my arms and ruining my plans, shouted Orochimaru angrily. Sounds like an outstanding debt. Can you take IOUs? Naruto turned to face Kabuto. Fancy seeing you here, Kabuto, though I shouldn't be surprised. You met this kid before, Naruto? Asked Jiraiya. Yeah, we met during the Chunin exams and he said that it was his 7th attempt. But then he quit after the 2nd stage of the exam, which really piqued my suspicion that he had an unknown motive, and you were right about that. He was serving as a spy for Orochimaru, which also means that he was part of the invasion, said Kurama with a frown. Tsunade brushed past them and rushed at Kabuto. Get of the way. I can handle them myself. He tried to attack with his kunai, but she kicked it off his hands and continued to attack him. I know that you have not fully recovered yet, so I'll just have to finish you off before you do. She kept laying on the pressure as Kabuto continued backpedal until his back hit the side of a boulder, giving him no chance of escape. Now to end this. Tsunade reared her hand back, was about to punch Kabuto when he whipped out his hand and splashed something on her face. She reached out to wipe it off and looked at what was on her only to start shaking in fear as she saw what was before her. Blood. I knew that I couldn't take you down, but now I can since you've been exposed to your weakness. Kabuto reared a fist back and launched it at Tsunade. Suddenly Naruto appeared in between them again and used a fist to parry the punch before slamming an open palm in his torso, sending Kabuto back once again. He heard Tsunade fall to her knees and quickly moved in to check on her as Shizune arrived at his side. Will she be okay? Shizune placed Tsunade's jacket over her shoulders before taking out a cloth to wipe the blood off. She'll be fine, though I've never seen her like this. She really shouldn't have to do things by herself. After all, it's why I'm here to help her. Naruto looked at Tsunade before he got up to face Kabuto. Then do just that while I deal with Kabuto. Okay, but be careful, he's strong. You should listen to her, Naruto. Unlike the opponents you faced before, I am much stronger than them while you don't have a chance against me, said Kabuto arrogantly. Dude, by saying that, you are insulting a few of my opponents who are much stronger than you. If that's what you think, allow me to showboat a little. Naruto quickly dashed at Kabuto as he crossed the middle and index fingers of each hand. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Several clones appeared by his side as they approached their target. "Come. Show this strength that you're so proud of," said Kabuto as he took a stance. "With pleasure," the clones responded all at the same time. The first clone got close enough and launched a straight punch as Kabuto sidestepped and kneed him in the gut. Another came from the right with a palm thrust which was parried, but he followed up with a jab. Kabuto caught the fist and tried to throw him, but the clone anchored himself to ground with chakra as another clone was coming in from the left. Kabuto whipped out his free hand which splattered blood in his eyes and quickly threw a kunai at it. However, the clone had instantly switched to using his other senses the moment he lost his eyesight and heard the kunai whizzing towards him as he quickly rolled on the ground to evade before performing a handspring kick which launched Kabuto into the air. The original Naruto jumped after him, bicycle kicks, rapidly pedaling his feet to inflict a lot of hits on Kabuto's chest, flying kick, before switching to a powerful flying front kick, sending him tumbling away from him as he landed on the ground with a smirk on his face. "Your cockiness had earned you nothing but a kick to the face, Kabuto. You better step things up a bit." Kabuto got back to his feet and glared at Naruto. "I guess that means I'll to get serious about this then." He reached into his pouch and took out a dark red pill. "I know that pill, it helps the consumer replenish the blood lost," said Shizun. "Then that means he's a medical ninja," said Jiraiya. "I think it's time that we went down to business. Naruto, you take on Kabuto while I have a little chat with my old friend Orochimaru, and Shizun will guard Tsunade, all over it pervy sage. Let's get this party started." Naruto punched his fists together. Orochimaru undid one of the bandages to reveal his rotten hand as Kabuto swiped his blood over the seal and started going through a series of hand signs. Jiraiya caught on and bit his thumb before going through the same hand signs as they both slammed their hands on the ground and called out at the same time. Summoning Jutsu. Seal Matrix appeared on the ground and there was a large cloud of smoke. The smoke cleared to reveal Kabuto and Orochimaru standing on a pair of giant snakes. However, on Jiraiya's side is a small toad whom Naruto is familiar with. "Yo Naruto, what's going on, man?" asked the toad. "Actually Gamakichi, pervy sage was trying to summon your dad but it seems like his chakra control is still messed up," said Naruto as Jiraiya smacked his forehead in frustration. "The drug Tsunadesima made will take a while for the effects wear off, so you'll have to manage as it is," said Shizun. "Then I guess I'll have to fight him as I am," said Jiraiya. Music start. Naruto Shippuden the movie OST, water above cut. "Let's begin, shall we?" said Orochimaru as the snakes lunged at them. Incoming, they leapt into air right as the snakes smashed the ground which sent rocks flying and created a large cloud of dust. Naruto and Jiraiya were using the flying rocks as stepping stones. He turned to see Kabuto approaching Shizun who was carrying Tsunade. "Shizun, watch out," but she was too slow to react as Kabuto dealt a powerful punch which sent them crashing to the ground. "Naruto, look behind you," Jiraiya called out. Naruto turned in midair to see a giant snake burst out of the dust cloud with its jaws wide open as it was about chomp down on him. "Sorry, but Naruto Uzumaki is not on the menu." He created a shadow clone which grabbed on and threw him away from the jaws. "Here's a much better recipe," it called bomb flambe. He threw a pair of kunai wrapped in explosive tags into the open jaws, and few seconds later there was an explosion which destroyed its guts. "Maybe I should have given you the taco a la boom, earth style." Dark swamp, a large quagmire formed on the ground around the snakes and slowed sank them inside but only enough to prevent them from moving. "My chakra control is really messing things up, but at least they're immobilized," said Jiraiya as he landed on one of the snakes and turned to face Orochimaru. "Get ready, old friend," said Orochimaru as he charged at Jiraiya who charged in as well. Naruto had landed on solid ground and was looking around for Kabuto. Then he saw Kabuto fighting Shizun who was using a Senbon launcher to keep him away. He evaded the barrage and slammed a chakra-coated palm into her chest as she flew back. Ninja art, poison fog. She released a purple gas from her mouth which headed towards Kabuto and covered him. "That should do it," but then she felt something grab her legs and looked down to see two chakra-coated hands holding her legs before falling to the ground and not able to move her feet as Kabuto burst out of the ground. "You should have kept your guard up," taunted Kabuto. Then he quickly jumped back to avoid a punch which formed a crater on the ground to reveal Naruto taking a Shaolin fist stance. "Now to truly show you how below me you are, given how I knocked you down twice, you'll have to forgive my skepticism," said Naruto. Kabuto frowned as his hands were covered in chakra again. "Be careful, Naruto-sama, from what we've seen that technique seems to function like a scalpel," said Tsunami. "Got it, avoid at all costs. Then I better switch to partial defense." Naruto changed to the praying mantis stance as Kabuto dashed towards him and started to parry the fists and strike back with jabs. Kabuto went with a double punch. Naruto quickly stepped forward and used a forearm to deflect the first and a bent elbow to block the second before straightening it to slam into Kabuto's face, causing him to stumble backwards, and not missing a beat. Naruto bent his body forward and slammed a double mantis punch into his chest. "You little brat!" Kabuto charged angrily at Naruto, attacking more ferociously than before. Naruto kept on deflecting the attacks and responded with counterattacks to inflict damage. Kabuto aimed a fist at his neck. Naruto bent his upper body backwards and formed his hand into a claw before grabbing the hand. Kabuto used the other hand and was met with the same method. Naruto twisted the hands, causing Kabuto to cry out in pain. Then he reared his feet back and drove it up his chin, which sent him flying back, and used the momentum to flip backwards. Kabuto struggled to his feet and was looking at Naruto with hatred. "How could you be so strong? I never saw anything like this in the records. Deception is a ninja's greatest tool. Don't think you're the only one who can pull the wool over the eyes of others. After all, it's why I'm standing here and you're struggling down there," said Naruto. Then he noticed that Kabuto healing quickly, much to his surprise. "He has a heal factor like you," said Kurama, who was just as surprised. "Medical skills and knowledge isn't the only reason why Orochimaru-sama values me, it's also because of my recuperative powers as well," said Kabuto arrogantly. "Is that so? Then it's a good thing," said Naruto with a smile. "What is that supposed to mean?" Music change. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. The Stains of Time. "It means that I can go all ape on your ass." Naruto crossed his hands before bringing them down to his sides as he triggered his brutality. Kabuto started to shiver a bit as he saw Naruto look at him with a crazed grin and clenching his fists. "Please do me the honor of being my punching bag and try not to die in the process." Then he charged, dashed, all the while cackling maniacally. Jiraiya and Orochimaru were still battling on top of the snakes when they felt a sudden pressure and turned to see Naruto charging at Kabuto with a crazed look on his face. "What did that brat just do?" "To himself," said Orochimaru while Jiraiya smiled knowingly. "That, my old friend, is Naruto's brutality. Normally I would explain about it to you, but I think I'll let your lackey explain it himself since he's about to experience it firsthand. So let's say we resume our battle." Jiraiya dashed forward to engage Orochimaru once more. Kabuto took out two kunai as Naruto approached him. He thrust out one of them and Naruto deflected it with his glove and grabbed the other approaching him. Then he pulled at it, pulling Kabuto in and slammed a headbutt into his. The medic stumbled backwards, leaving himself open as Naruto unleashed a barrage of punches and kicks which slowly picked up speed as he kept wailing on him. Kabuto managed to deflect a punch and lashed out with his own, which landed connected with Naruto's face, but Naruto simply shrugged it off as he grabbed Kabuto by the back of the head and drove it into a rising knee so hard that a crack could be heard. "I'm just getting started." Naruto reared his fist back and slammed it into Kabuto's chin to launch him into the air before jumping after him. Dive kicks. He planted a series of kicks, but then they were about to fall back to the ground when Naruto grabbed Kabuto and flipped him into the air. He rapidly punched at his opponent before stopping as he started to spin like a wheel and exiting out of it with a heel raised high, happy landings. Then he brought it down, sending Kabuto crashing into the ground hard enough to form a crater and landed nearby. Naruto crouched a bit as he stared at Kabuto, who was slowly getting back to his feet with his back to him. He dashed forward when he saw begin to turn around with his fist reared back and coated with chakra to end it. It's over, Kabuto. At that moment, Kabuto had fully turned around, but he had a smirk on his face. You're open. Kabuto launched a palm at Naruto's chest while covered with chakra, which made contact, causing Naruto to twitch a bit before slumping over. You were too arrogant with your power, and that is the cause of your death. Music end, Naruto, shouted Shizune as she watched in horror at what happened. Tsunade was quivering in fear as well, and watching him die was reminding her of how Dan and Nawaki died too. Kabuto turned to Tsunade with an evil smile. Now to deal with you. He was about to approach her when he noticed that something was wrong, that he couldn't move his arm. Then he heard a voice that wasn't supposed to be heard. I had always suspected something since you stopped using that medical technique, which was why I made it look like I had charged in recklessly. But lo and behold, you were faking it. Naruto raised his head with a grin on his face. But how? I hit your chest. You did hit something, but you should really need to practice your aim. Naruto looked down with Kabuto following his sight, only to be stunned to see that his palm was caught by the wrist only inches from Naruto's chest. Like I said before, Kabuto, it's over. Naruto held out his free palm and chakra began to gather around it, started to spin rapidly before finally solidifying into a blue spinning orb. That jutsu. Could he really have mastered it that short amount? Said Tsunade as she looked on in shock. Rasengan. Naruto slammed the blue spinning sphere into Kabuto's chest, and the sound ninja is violently thrown back across the field until he collided with a large rock. Naruto was expecting him to collapse to the ground, but was surprised to see that Kabuto was still standing and saw the part which was grinded from the jutsu was slowly healing itself. To be able to heal from your father's jutsu, this boy is really something else, said Kurama. I'll admit that technique of yours is powerful, but it will have to take more than that to put me down, said Kabuto as he slowly approached them. Then he saw that Naruto was smirking. There's a reason why it's an ranked jutsu, you dummy. No sooner he said that did Kabuto suddenly cough out blood and started to tremble before falling to his knees. How can it be? This level of damage. My chakra won't be enough to heal all of it, said Kabuto as he attempted to stand, but to no avail. Naruto turned back to see Tsunade looking at him in surprise and smirked at her. Looks like you lost a bet, eh? Tsunade still didn't say anything when Shizune cried out without warning, Tsunadesima. Watch out. She turned and saw Orochimaru heading towards her with the kusanagi sticking out of his mouth. Her fear of blood had completely arrested her mobility as she closed her eyes and awaited for the blade to pierce through her heart. She felt a gust of wind which was followed by the squelching of flesh, but felt no pain. She opened her eyes and was welcomed with the sight Naruto standing in between them with the kusanagi sticking out of his back. WWHY? Why did you jump in the way? She asked. Naruto coughed out blood before turning his head to respond to her. I was asking myself the same question. I'm supposed to be upset with you leaving me behind back then, and yet my body moved on its own. Kukukuku, you're just like your father Naruto-kun. Always putting others' lives before yours, such self-sacrificing fools. Orochimaru tried to push the blade further inside, but Naruto grabbed the hilt to hold it back as he turned to glare at Orochimaru. Hey Snakey, heads up. Orochimaru looked up to see a blue spinning sphere before his face as it sent flying away. Naruto fell on his back as the poison from the blade was slowing the healing effect of Kurama's chakra. Naruto, hang on. I'm sending as much chakra as I can, said Kurama as she concentrated with tears in her eyes. Kurama-san, please hurry. He's going into cardiac arrest, said Chinami worriedly. Shizune was healing her legs as fast as she can so that she can reach Naruto and heal him of the poison. She looked up and saw Tsunade still sitting nearby quivering in fear. Tsunadesima. What are you doing? Hurry and heal Naruto or he'll die. Tsunade didn't respond and still sat there not moving an inch, and this made Shizune very angry and do something she never would have done in her entire life. Yell at her master, Tsunade. Stop running away from your sorrows. You abandoned Naruto back when he was a child, don't run away right now when he needs you the most. Hearing those words made Tsunade think back to what happened the past week. Flashback start. To be Hokage is nothing but a fool's game. I'm talking to a drunken old hag who sucks at gambling, runs away from her responsibilities and is a no-good coward. The purpose of being Hokage is something one must never take lightly. Before, it wasn't truly my goal to be Hokage, but if it is to protect all who are precious to me, then I shall make it my dream to be Hokage. I doubt he hates you, Tsunade. When we first met he beat me up for the same reason and was cold to me for a while. But as time went, he slowly warmed up to me, so I'm sure that the same can happen to you, which is why I want you to think very carefully about this, because your decision could affect not just yourself but others like Naruto. I just hope that you would make the right choice. I'm so sorry for leaving you behind and saying those things, but I promise that I'll try to make things right between us and take care of you like I should have. Flashback end. What am I doing? I swore to myself that I would start making things right between us, and yet I'm sitting on and ground shaking in fear while my godson is dying before me. I wasn't there for Nawaki and I couldn't save Dan. But I'll be damned to hell if I let you die too. Tsunade stood to her feet as the trembling stopped completely, and she knelt before Naruto's prone body with her hands over the wound with green chakra, and it started to heal rapidly with Kurama's chakra in the mix. Everyone were stunned, including Jiraiya, who had tried to prevent Orochimaru from attacking Tsunade but was taken by surprise and slammed to the ground before finally recovering. She's stopping shaking. Could it be that Tsunade has gotten over her fear of blood? Thought Jiraiya. Tsunade was completely focused on healing Naruto's wound that she blocked everything out in order to concentrate. Then she heard a weak voice. I believe you've done enough now. She looked to see Naruto looking at her with a small smile as he slowly rose from the ground. Naruto, you're alive. Don't you ever scare us like that again, shouted Kurama happily with tears of joy. Tsunami was also crying too. Naruto? Are you okay? Asked Tsunade worriedly. I am now, thanks to you. But I believe you owe me a necklace, though I'll save it for after dealing with a certain snake for trying to kill you and stabbing me in the gut, with interest. Are you sure? You're still wounded. Not really. Your medical ninjutsu has helped me lot while Kuchin's chakra was able to get rid of the poison, so I'm good to go. Naruto was now on his feet with no problem. I see. Then in that case, Tsunade bit her thumb and swiped it on her forearm. Naruto smirked as he bit his thumb as well and started going through a set of hand signs. Jiraiya saw what they intend to do and followed suit. Please work this time, Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto struggled to his knees as Orochimaru leapt over him as he swiped his blood over the tattoo. They all slammed their palms on the ground as they called out at the same time, summoning jutsu. There was a large puff of white smoke before it cleared away to reveal Tsunade standing, a giant white slug with a blue stripes running along its body, Jiraiya on Gamabunta, and Orochimaru on a giant purple snake. However, Naruto was standing on what looks to be an orange Tyrannosaurus Rex with spikes on the right shoulder and jaw. The tip of its tail is gray and there are blue stripes on its legs, neck and mouth. It also wears a red chest plate, a metallic helmet with 3 horns on it, a gigantic revolver for a left arm, and also has red mechanical wings with 3 cannons on each. Manda and Orochimaru, Katsuyu and Tsunade, and it looks like Naruto has brought a friend along to witness this long-awaited reunion, said Gamabunta after taking a puff from his smoking pipe. Did you bring a hanky, Jiraiya? I think I'm going to cry. I didn't summon you after all this time just to listen to your stupid jokes, Gamma. It's about time for us to end this long rivalry, as today's the day we putting Orochimaru out of our misery, said Jiraiya. Why you bring me out here, Orochimaru? You know that I don't like to being summoned. Maybe I should just eat you and be rid of your annoyance, said Manda. Please, Mandasama, I assure that you'll be well rewarded for your trouble, said Kabuto in a placating manner. Who do you think you're talking to, you little bug? What could the likes of you have that I could possibly want? Orochimaru, when this is over I expect 100 human sacrifices from you. This is bad. If he finds out that Orochimaru can't use any of his jutsu, then he's likely to betray us. Summoning Manda could possibly be a huge mistake. Katsuyu, I require your aid in this battle, said Tsunade. Yes, Tsunadesima, said the slug. Yo Naruto, I was wondering when you were ever going to summon me for a battle bro, said the new summon. Sorry if I kept you waiting Rise Greymon, but it looks like I'll be needing your help in taking down a certain snake, said Naruto. Well, it's about time. I felt a bit left out when you summoned Geo Greymon for the invasion of your village. But now it's my time to shine, said Rise Greymon with a toothy grin as he cocked his revolver in preparation for the incoming battle. Manda sneered at Gamabunta, I'm going to enjoy popping you like a balloon, you stinking dirty toad. Then come and try it, I've always been of getting a snakeskin wallet every time I look at you, and now's a good time. Gamabunta put his pipe away and unsheathed his sword a bit. You're no longer worthy to be a member of the Three Sannin, your evil ways shall be put to an end, said Jiraiya. Not worthy to be one of you? I rather find it to be an insult to even be affiliated with the likes of you, said Orochimaru with a dark chuckle. After this, there will be one less Sannin in the world, said Tsunade. And you're going to pay for attacking the Hidden Leaf Village and trying to kill Gigi, said Naruto with a glare. Music change, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, Rules of Nature. Katsuyu was the first to move as she charged at Manda, Acid Slime. She spat a gloop of brown slimy substance at Manda. The snake quickly slithered around a large rock to evade the slime as it hit the rock before making a beeline towards Katsuyu and Tsunade. I'll start with you two first. Rise Greymon, let's go, said Naruto. You got it, bro. The boosters on Rise Greymon's wings activated as he dashed forward and quickly caught up with Manda as he was about to chomp down on Katsuyu with his long fangs. Take this. Barrel smash. Rise Greymon slammed the barrel of his revolver into Manda's head, which sent him reeling from the pain. Thank you Rise Greymonson, said Katsuyu. Don't mention it, said Rise Greymon. Naruto, watch out. Jiraiya called out suddenly. Naruto turned in confusion. Wah! At that moment Manda had recovered from the hit and had swooped in on them, then he wrapped Rise Greymon up in a coil and started to squeeze tightly. That hurt you little brats. So I'm going to eat you instead. Manda opened his mouth and was about to clamp down on them. Bunta, help them, said Jiraiya. I know already. Gamabunta fully unsheathed his tanto and threw it at Manda, but the snake saw the blade heading towards and caught it with his mouth, then he threw it back, which forced Gamabunta to jump out of the way of his own blade as it stabbed into the ground. Now where was I? Oh yes, Manda turned his attention back to Naruto and Rise Greymon. Well, if you want something, then I have a recipe that is very spicy. Naruto took a stance as a red rune with Siddha characters surrounded him and flames appeared on his hands. Ninpo, Art of the Inferno. Then he put them together and thrust forwards as he shot a giant fireball that slammed into Manda's face, causing him to roar out in pain and loosen his grip enough for Rise Greymon break out of. It seems that the first hit wasn't good enough for you, so let me make it up to you. Barrel blow. Rise Greymon slammed the barrel of his revolver into Manda's face once more, only this time it was stronger as the snake was thrown back rather violently. I'm not done yet. Trident revolver. He flew high into the air before aiming his gun and fired 3 rounds from it, inflicting serious wounds on Manda. Let's heat things up, Bunta. Serve up the oil while I bring on the heat, said Jiraiya as he was going through a set of hand signs. You got it. Gamabunta's cheeks bulged and he reared his head back before bringing it forward to spew brown liquid from his mouth. Fire style, Toad Flame Bomb. Jiraiya launched a blast of flames from his mouth onto the oil, which made the flames even larger and stronger as it headed straight towards Manda and engulfed him. That should do it. No, it was too easy, said Jiraiya. The flames died down only to reveal what looks to be the skin of Manda crumbling away. Just like a snake, he shed his skin. Suddenly something burst out of the ground towards Gamabunta, who reacted just in time to catch it only to see that it was Manda's tail. Then Manda's head burst out the ground from behind Gamabunta with his jaws wide open. At that moment, a blade pierced through Manda's from above and pinned him down to the ground with Tsunade standing on top of the handle. Keep your mouth shut, said Tsunade. Orochimaru was glaring at them with hatred. Fighting one Sannin is hard enough, but fighting two along with that brat leaves this battle in their favor. Then he launched his tongue at Tsunade and wrapped it around her neck tightly. "Tsunade," said Jiraiya worriedly. "Damn it, I don't have enough chakra to break free," thought Tsunade as she tried to free herself from the long tongue. "Kukukuku, I've always wondered what it would be like to wring that pretty neck of yours. Not gonna happen, you snake freak." Naruto slid down Rise Grayman's back and used his tail as a springboard before he dived towards Orochimaru. He channeled chakra to his bracelet and called out, "Reborn." The bracelet glowed and he was wearing those gloves with the headphones and orange eye contacts, and a tongue of flame appeared on his forehead. The gloves lit up in flames before shooting out as he flew towards them. He grabbed the tongue, burning it, which made Orochimaru let go of Tsunade's neck. "Get over here." He pulled hard on the tongue to bring the snake over to him and landed a fiery haymaker to send him flying away from him. He used the gloves to fly up the handle of the Tonto to check on Tsunade. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, but I'm far from finished with that bastard," said Tsunade as she breathed in air after almost being suffocated. "Naruto-sama, I know of a weapon that could help her." "I'm sending the information over to you," said Tsunami. Naruto felt the information flow into his mind before speaking up. "I have something that will give your punches the extra oomph." He channeled chakra to the bracelet again. RWBY. There was a bright glow and it faded to reveal Tsunade wearing a pair of yellow gauntlets which cover her hands and forearms, acting as arm guards. Tsunade was looking at them with surprise and a bit of curiosity. What are they supposed to do? Then she suddenly has images of a woman with long wavy blonde hair fighting in a bar with the gauntlets flowing through her mind before snapping back to reality as she smirked before pumping her fists, which made a clicking sound from the gauntlets. "Well, I do now, shall we?" Naruto smirked back as the gloves lit up in flames again. "Ladies first." Tsunade directed the gauntlets behind her and fired dual shots with the recoil launching her forward quickly towards Orochimaru. Naruto followed soon after by also directing the gloves behind him and releasing flames to propel him forward to catch up with her. Tsunade had arrived before Orochimaru and started to punch him left and right as hard and fast as she could. Each time her fists make contact, there will be flashes of light resembling explosions or flames that destroy a part of Orochimaru's clothes each time. Orochimaru jumped backwards to avoid the onslaught of attacks. However, it was for naught as Tsunade was throwing punches causing the gauntlets to fire red shells that exploded when they hit. Switch. Naruto sped by Tsunade, who pumped her fists to get the gauntlets to eject the empty shells. Then 2 rolls of ammo appeared at her hands which she slung into the gauntlets to reload. Now it was Naruto's turn to attack and he started off with rapid-fire punches in the torso and switching targets to the face with straight punches and jabs. "Gotcha," and continued to punch him in the face repeatedly before being thrown back by a more powerful one. Naruto was about to continue when an image of the previous owner taking a stance with one of his hands bearing a gauntlet with a Roman number 1 on it as he dashed forward to punch an opponent with it. "I see, so that's what you want me to do. Cambio forma, moto attacco mitina di Vongala primo." His right hand lit up in flames before fading a little to reveal the gauntlet that he saw in the vision. Then Tsunade appeared next to him. "Let's finish him off." Tsunade channeled chakra to the left gauntlet and a click could be heard from it. Naruto nodded in affirmation as he stood beside her before they dashed towards with their fists cocked back. "Give my regards to Hell Orochimaru. It's lights out for you." Big Bang Axle. They launched their fists forward and smashed them into Orochimaru's face, which resulted in combination of explosion and flames. Orochimaru flew out of the fiery explosion to crash into the handle of the blade fall on top of Manda with his upper body charred and battered. Music and Kabuto was speechless as he crawled over to the prone form of Orochimaru. He took the full power of those attacks without putting up any kind of defense. "It's over now," said Jiraiya. "Yeah," said Gamabunta. "Grr, should eat you both for your incompetence." "Unfortunately, I have a hole in my mouth," said Manda. "If we meet again, well, you better hope that we don't." Then he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Rise Grayman simply scoffed, "What a sore loser, I'll catch you later, Naruto." I can't tell everyone my story, especially little Koraman. Okay, Rise Grayman, see ya, said Naruto. Rise Grayman nodded before disappearing as well. Then he turned and was surprised to see Orochimaru still standing although looking battered. How could he still live from taking those attacks from you and Tsunade? Anyone else would have died even from the impact, said Kurama in shock. So Tsunade, you refuse to heal my arms. Well, it doesn't matter anymore as I have another way and I will destroy the village, you can count on it. Orochimaru raised his head to show a part of his face torn to reveal another underneath it. What the hell did this guy do to himself, thought Naruto as he watched with shock. Tsunade looked stunned. You meant that forbidden jutsu, don't you? That explains everything, he's been shifting into the bodies of others, thought Jiraiya with a frown. Yes, and the next time that we meet, I'll show you what it means to be an immortal. Orochimaru slowly sank to the ground with a dark chuckle and disappeared with Kabuto following suit with a body flicker. Jiraiya wanted to go after them, but the effects of the drug and battle wounds prevent him from doing so. Now that it's over for now, let's head back into town to recover from our wounds, said Jiraiya, receiving nods from everyone as they began their trek back into town. The next day, the group met up at the same bar for a discussion where Tsunade made a statement. I have come to a decision. I decided to take on the job of being Hokage, said Tsunade. Everyone was stunned upon what she said, although Naruto simply quirked an eyebrow. What's the matter, Naruto? Is something bothering you? Asked Jiraiya. Quite a bit, pervy sage. I know Gigi and the elders said that she is the right one for the job, but from what I've seen she's drinks a lot, bad with money, and totally sucks at gambling. It makes me worry about the financial status of the village, and who says she won't run away again, said Naruto. At that moment, Tsunade with many tick marks stood up from her chair and was glaring at Naruto. You wanna take outside, you little brat? Whatever you say. Jiraiya simply rubbed his head. Here we go again. Outside the bar, Naruto and Tsunade were facing each once again on the street with Jiraiya, Shizune, Taunton and Tora watching from the side. I may have flaws, but that doesn't mean that I'll misuse the power of the Hokage, and I'll prove it to you. Normally I would be toying with you, but now I'm going to take you seriously, said Tsunade. I hope so, because the village needs to be watched over until I become Hokage, which will eventually happen, said Naruto as he took a stance while Tsunade simply stood ready. Then he dashed forward and threw a punch which Tsunade caught with an open palm. She was about to throw him when he opened his palm to drop a small black pellet to the ground to release a smokescreen. Tsunade jumped away from the smoke before sensing something approaching from behind. She turned around to see Naruto descending towards her from the air. Tsunade got ready for whatever he was about to do, but was totally unprepared for what he did next. He engulfed her in a warm hug. Naruto pulled back with a bright smile on his face. I was just teasing you earlier, let's go home, Daibwa, godmother. Tsunade was still stunned before she smiled happily and hugged him back. Let's, Natsuhiko, godson. The others were smiling as they went to get ready for the journey back to the Hidden Leaf Village. Weapons/gears Ember Celica RWBY's gloves, Vongala version gear, equals Katayoshi Hitman Reborn. This is Husbeck Online with another chapter. I really had to pull out all the stops for this chapter for your enjoyment. So what going to happen next when the group returns to the Hidden Leaf? Stay tuned to find, but always read and review. Anyway, I'm trying a hand at Omax, but it won't be seen in every chapter, so let me know what you think of these ones. Omake going out with a bang. Naruto stood before Kabuto, who was stumbling around a bit and looking dazed. Now to finish you, he took out a scroll from his ninja pouch. Then he dashed towards Kabuto and started around him in circles so quickly that he looked like a whirlwind. He finally stopped running and stepped away to reveal Kabuto seemingly hugging a giant rocket with a very long fuse. I knew that rocket and super would come in handy, said Naruto as he watched Kabuto try to get off the rocket. Alright, Four Eyes, this is how we're gonna do this. If you're able to put out the fuse before it reaches the rocket and lights you up like a Christmas tree, then I'll let you. Naruto channeled fire chakra to his index finger and lit up the fuse. Ready, go. The fuse was slowly sizzling towards the rocket as Kabuto was doing everything he can to detach from it, but to no avail. When it drew close he started blowing at it to try and put it out, but it was inching closer. Shizun walked up to Naruto and stood to watch. Doesn't he know that would only make the fuse burn faster? Naruto simply shrugged his shoulder as they watched the rocket light up before launching high into the air, with Kabuto screaming before exploding in sparkles of light. Tamaya! Kaguya! Naruto and Shizun shouted as they watched the fireworks. A bad day to be a man. Let's finish this, said Tsunade as she stood next to Naruto before Orochimaru. Yeah, said Naruto. Both charged at the snake, and when they got to him, Naruto slammed his fist into Orochimaru's face while Tsunade aimed somewhere else. She slammed her fist at the sun doesn't shine, and there a loud bang followed by an explosion and a girlish scream as the males including Manda, Gamabunta and Raizgraman winced at what they saw while Tsunade was smiling in self-satisfaction. A fellow male has just lost what it means to be a man, even for someone like him, said Naruto with a salute, followed by the other males with hands or appendages, while Tsunade simply scoffed. Oh please, it's not like he was going to make use of it. It's not a loss from my point of view. When you put it that way, you have a good point there, said Jiraiya. You're right, it was neither a loss nor a gain, said Naruto. Aren't you fools making light of my situation? Orochimaru barely squeaked out. Ichich, was the collective voices of everyone around. We're finally back to the Hidden Leaf Village, Naruto spoke happily as he saw the giant gates in the distance with a smile on his face. Around his neck and glinting in the sunlight was the Hokage necklace. Jiraiya stood next to him nodding in agreement. Even when we've been gone for a couple of weeks, I still get a sense of nostalgia. I never thought that I would be coming back here after all these years. Things have changed quite a bit since I was gone, said Tsunade. I can't wait to see all my old friends again, said Shizun happily as she held Taunton in her arms. But first things first, we need to head to the hospital for Tsunade to heal Saradobai Sensei, as well as Kakashi and Sasuke Uchiha, since they were attacked by Itachi Uchiha during our search, said Jiraiya. They continued on their way until finally arriving at the giant gates, where they saw Izumo and Kotetsu sitting in the guard house while on sentry duty as usual. They saw Naruto and Jiraiya approaching and were stunned to see Tsunade and her apprentice with them. Tsunadesima, it brings us much joy to see you return to the village, said Izumo as he and Kotetsu got up from their seats to bow to her. Tsunade simply nodded at them with a smile. It's been quite a long time since I left this place and now I've returned, so what's been going on since Pervy Sage and I left, said Naruto. Jiraiya grumbled about Naruto calling him a pervert instead of a super one. We're still undergoing repairs from the invasion and we've made good progress thanks to those construction crew from Wave Country, said Kotetsu. That's awesome. We're heading over to the hospital to get Gigi healed up. We'll see you guys later, said Naruto as he and the others walked into the village. On their way to the hospital, many people were giving the group looks, especially Naruto. Many were surprised to see Tsunade returning to the village with Jiraiya and that Naruto was walking with them as well. Some still looked at him with hatred, which made Tsunade and Jiraiya clench their fists in anger, but what placated them was that many of the villagers were looking at the blonde with respect and gratitude. Naruto felt the number of glares had reduced by a large amount, which made him feel a lot happier. Most of them are finally acknowledging me for who I am, thought Naruto while inwardly smiling. That's good, 'cause I really hate how they looking at you before. This is a change I wouldn't mind, said Kurama. Indeed, Kurama-san, they saw how he fought to defend the village during the invasion. This is well deserved, said Chinami. Well, I had to defend my home after all, thought Naruto. He was snapped out of his thoughts when he felt someone tackle him into a hug. He looked down to see that it was a little girl who was hugging him happily. Niken, you're back. Kazan and I were looking all over for you, but we were told that you had left the village on a mission, said the girl as a woman walked up to with a smile on her face. Naruto recalled from the memories of one of his clones that he saved them from being raped by one of the sound ninjas before summoning Shoutmon and then Geogrammon to battle the snake summons. I'm glad to see that Shoutmon protected the both of you, said Naruto with a smile. My daughter and I wanted to express our gratitude to you for saving us, said the woman. It's quite alright, it's my duty to protect everyone in the village, said Naruto. The woman bowed to him before she walked away with her daughter, who waved him goodbye. More of the biased villagers began to have second thoughts upon seeing this. Tsunade and Jiraiya smiled warmly seeing that Naruto was slowly changing the villagers and continued their way to the hospital. There they went up to the special ward where Hiruzen was recovering. The third Hokage turned his head towards the opening door and smiled wearily upon seeing the people entering. It's been years since I last saw you, Tsunade. You've grown too, Shizun, said Hiruzen. Indeed it has, sensei. I can see that you're still hanging in there, said Tsunade. As long as my will of fire still burns, I refuse to let myself die until my time truly comes. Then let me help you by healing your injuries. I'll also be taking the baton and become Hokage in your place. Tsunade walked over with her hands covered in green chakra as she proceeded to heal her former teacher. I'm surprised though, I was expecting you to rebel against it, believe me I did, but a certain blonde-haired kid had to beat some sense into me to change my mindset, and here I am. But let's not forget how mad he was at you for what you said earlier before then, said Jiraiya with a smirk, while Tsunade began to look nervous with Hiruzen quirking an eyebrow in confusion. I could understand Naruto being angry for you not being there for him despite being fooled by Danzo. What did you say? Asked Hiruzen. It's in the past now. No need for you to know, she said quickly. She didn't want her sensei to be mad for insulting the past Hokages, including Naruto's father. I'll be heading home while you go and heal Kakashi and check on Lee. I know that you'll able to help him out, Naruto, as he turned to leave. Sure thing, Gaki, we'll send for you when the time comes, said Jiraiya. Naruto had left the hospital and was currently on his way to the Namake's mansion when he stopped walking and spoke out loud as he looked at the fence on his left. You guys can come out now. Then a piece of cloth painted to look like the fence was removed to show Konohamaru, Moegi and Udon looking happy to see him. Hi Naruto-ni, said Konohamaru happily. Hey guys, what have you been up to? We've been helping the teachers clean up the academy after the invasion, said Moegi. We wanted to train with you a bit, but we were told that you had gone out on a mission, said Udon. What was the mission about? Asked Konohamaru curiously. Well, Gigi and the elders had sent Pervy Sage and I to find one of the Sannin Tsunade and bring her back to become the 5th Hokage, but that's part of the reason as I wanted her help heal a good friend of mine, said Naruto. What? You mean Gramps is going to be replaced? But why? Asked Konohamaru, who was shocked and looked a bit upset. Think about it. Gigi is getting old and he almost got killed if my special shadow clone wasn't there to help him. Also Tsunade Baken is related to the previous Hokages, which makes her the most suitable candidate. Konohamaru didn't look too convinced, but what if the villagers forget about Gramps Now? He held his head in pain from the bonk he received from Naruto, who was looking at him sternly. What was that for? Don't think like that, there's no way that will happen. Then he pointed at the Hokage monument. No one will ever forget about Gigi, with the same going for the Hokages before him. And if they do, we'll be there to remind them. Konohamaru looked apologetic for saying that. Sorry, I was just upset that Gramps was retiring. Naruto smiled fondly and ruffled the hair of his surrogate brother. Don't worry about it, Otuto, look at it this way. Gigi will now have time to be above to teach you his techniques, right? You're right, and I can use them to beat you when the time finally comes to battle for the Hokage position, said Konohamaru excitedly. That will make an exciting battle for sure, said Naruto with a smirk. Anyway, I have to get home and unpack, so I'll see you guys later. Bye Naruto-ni. Konohamaru, Moegi and Udon waved goodbye before running off to who knows where. Naruto continued on his way until finally arriving at the Namake's compound. It's good to be back home, don't you think so? Yes it is, Naruken, said Kurama with Tsunami nodding in agreement. Naruto turned the knob on the door and was about to enter, when the door suddenly flew open and he was tackled to the ground by a green blur. After Tora leapt out of the hood in time, he slowly sat to see that it was Fu, who was currently hugging him happily, and Haku was walking out to them while looking amused. Hi Naruto-kun, I missed you, said Fu. Yeah, you've been gone for a long time, said Chomei with a cute pout from Fu's mindscape. We're happy to see that you've returned, said Haku. Hey girls, how have you been, said Naruto as he got up from the ground with Fu still hugging him. We're fine. Hinata and Niji had been training at the Hyuga compound, Anko is working with Ibiki at the T&I, Kurenai is teaching Sakura some genjutsu, Ino is working at her family's floral shop and Tenten is helping her father out at their weapons shop. Well, I'll be sending some shadow clones to go and get them. I have a lot to tell you girls, said Naruto, then he created some clones which took off before he entered the house with the girls. Meanwhile Tsunade was looking at the clipboard containing the results of Rock Lee's health condition while sitting in the ward with said patient and Guy. So how is it Tsunade-sama? Can you help him? Asked Guy worriedly. His injuries have left numerous bone fragments embedded in his spinal column, it's even a miracle that he can even move around with a crutch. As of now he is incapable of carrying on his physical duties of being a shinobi, said Tsunade with a grim look on her face. Surely there's a way you can heal him Tsunade-sama, right? Right? There's surgical operation capable of restoring his body to the way it was before, said Tsunade. This made Guy sigh in relief and Lee look hopeful, however this surgery has a 50% chance of either ending in success or failure. This is a decision you must make that could decide your very life as a shinobi. You mean that this surgery could help me continue my life as a ninja or end it? Asked Lee, to which Tsunade nodded in affirmation and he became silent. I await your answer, though you should know that Naruto's reason for bringing me back here was to help you, saying that he wished to help a fellow ninja who is also a genius in hard work. Tsunade left the room in direction of the Hokage Tower in order to meet the elders and plan for her inauguration. The room was silent for quite a while until Guy finally spoke up. Lee, I want you to know that whatever decision you make, I'll always be there for you. Even if I were to give up on my dreams? Asked Lee. If you give up on your dreams, you'll undergo pain much worse than you've ever felt. You and I share a ninja way and without it we would never survive. Take the operation Lee, said Guy, but Lee still looked unsure of himself. Do you remember that challenge I threw out to my eternal rival Kakashi? I remember, Lee recalled back when he and his team were starting out. They watched Guy constantly challenging Kakashi into different things and he recalled one where they played a game of rock, paper and scissors which Guy wounded up losing and did a 100 laps around the village on his hands which he imposed upon himself if he lost. But I also remember him saying that it's not just about one's level of skill but also luck. This operation is a 50-50, live or die. But this isn't some kid's game, true. But only you have the power to carve out your own destiny and I have no doubt that the surgery will be a success and that is from the bottom of my heart, and should you die in the midst of it that I will die along with you. Lee looked at Guy with shock as tears started to flow to of his eyes. Ever since we first met, my nindo was to train you to become the best ninja possible and that's a promise, said Guy with his trademark good Guy pose, and let's not forget that your eternal rival is waiting for you. Lee looked confused at what he said. My eternal rival? Who is this person? Why Naruto, of course, he too is a hardworker and could see the same in you, which is why he went to look for Tsunade-sama and bring her back to help you. He didn't want your dream to die, Naruto. He thought back to when he saw the blonde motivate Chuji, when he saved Tenten during the preliminaries, how he defeated Niji during the finals, who is known to be a genius, and how he fought to protect the village during the Sand and Sound invasion. Then he looked up to Guy with eyes of determination. Geizensei, I'll take the operation. Atta boy Lee. You're truly in your springtime of youth. Guy hugged his student happily. Meanwhile back at the Namikaze compound, Naruto was smiling as he watched the girls squeal happily over the gifts which he brought from the town that he and Jiraiya passed through during their search for Tsunade. Thank you Naruto-kun, said Hinata shyly as she wore the necklace. You're so sweet Naruto-kun, said Fu wearing the beetle-designed hair clip on her green hair. Yeah, you know just what we like, said Chomei, who made a hair clip just like Fu's. Sakura was admiring the kimono bracelet on her wrist, Haku wore the earrings, Ino had her brooch pinned to her dress, and Tenten planned to wear the bun covers later. "Anything for you girls," said Naruto with a foxy grin which made the girls blush. "How was it now that Tsunadesima is back?" said Tenten excitedly, as she's an admirer of the Sannin. "At first I was upset with her, but now I'm happy that she's back here with me," said Naruto with a fond smile. "What did she say that you would be angry with her?" asked Sakura curiously. "It's in the past now, no need for you to worry yourselves about it," said Naruto. "Okay, if you say so," said Ino. 2 days later, Hiruzen, Kakashi and Sasuke were discharged from the hospital, much to the relief of the villagers. Kakashi offered to teach Naruto some of his jutsu, as he noticed that the blonde only had a few in his arsenal. Hiruzen and the elders helped Tsunade in preparation for being Hokage. Sasuke became withdrawn from everyone, including his team, ever since his encounter with Itachi, and rather preferred to train by himself, much to their disapproval. The next day, everyone gathered at the Hokage Tower as Tsunade, Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and the elders stood before them to inaugurate her as the 5th Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, much to everyone's joy. Also, Naruto and Shikamaru were promoted to Chunin rank, though Naruto preferred not to wear the jacket. After several weeks of training and day-to-day activities, Naruto, Sakura and Hinata were called to the mission room by Tsunade. And they're currently standing before her, ready to listen to what she's about to say to them. "Tsunade-bakan, what's the witch you're about to send us on? And why aren't Ankakan and Kuranazen with us?" asked Naruto. "Both of them, as well as other Jounins, have been sent out of the village on their assigned. Also, since you're a Chunin now, you have been placed in charge in their absence," said Tsunade. Normally she would scolded Naruto for calling her that, but Hiruzen told her that it's Naruto's form of endearment. Calling her otherwise means he's serious. "Very well, Tsunadesima, what is our mission objective?" asked Sakura. "It's a rank escort mission which turn into a rank should you run into trouble," said Tsunade. "It's almost similar like that mission to the Wave Country," said Kurama. "So who will we be escorting?" asked Naruto. "I don't know," said Tsunade, much to the surprise of the team. "Let me explain. Every 4 years our neighbor the Land of Tea holds a dedication ceremony at the Great Todoroki Shrine. And each time, we're asked to escort a runner who will participate in a race that is part of the ceremony. This year the messengers who were bringing the request were attacked before they could get here. Tsunadesima, we don't the story very well," said Hinata. "Don't worry about it, once you meet Boss Jirocho, he fill you in on everything," said Tsunade. "I believe we met that man back at Hot Spring Village before we returned to the village," said Chinami. "That we did, Chinamikan," thought Naruto. "That's everything I know so far. They expecting you to arrive at the Land of Tea by the end of the day, so you better get on and please be careful," said Tsunade. "Don't worry, Bachan, we'll complete this mission and come back to you safely," said Naruto. Then they took off and get themselves ready for the mission. What they didn't know was that this mission was going to be just dangerous as the Wave mission. This is Husbeck Online with another chapter. Sorry about the long duration, as I had other chapters to update, especially the Sky Fox, which now has a large number of favorites and follows. This chapter is simply the cool-down period before Naruto heads into the next mission. I also made him a Chunin so that it makes more sense when Anko and Kurenai aren't around to follow them on missions. Also, this chapter leads to the 5-episode arc of the Todoroki race. Hope you look forward to it. Read and review as always. Oh, make party all over. It was late at night in Konoha and everywhere is peaceful. Well, not exactly when you hear loud music being played for the whole village to hear. We trace the source of the music to the Namikaze complex, where one can see a lot of people both inside and outside the mansion wearing party clothes and costumes while dancing the night away. The building itself is decorated with party streamers, disco lights flashing different colors, balloons, confetti, and blown-up toy foxes which were being thrown around. A grumpy old man wearing pajamas and bags under his eyes was trudging towards the mansion, where once he got to the front door, he started banging on it so hard that the music stopped playing. Footsteps could be heard approaching the door and it opened to reveal Naruto, who was dressed in an orange t-shirt with the letters Party Fox on it, cargo pants and trainers. He also wore a pair of sunglasses too. Naruto raised his shades to look at the old man in confusion. Yes, can I help you? Now you listen here, you little brat, it's 11 p.m. and people are trying to get some sleep. But here you are playing your ridiculously loud music, which is preventing us from doing just that. Now what do you have to say for yourself? Naruto simply quirked an eyebrow at the man's ranting. I'm afraid you're asking the wrong guy, let me redirect you. Then he turned to look inside and called out, hey everyone. Someone out here is saying that we're disturbing the peace, now what do we have to say to him? Naruto opened the door widely for him to see everyone yell simultaneously, sorry for party rocking. Then the music started up again, LMFAO, sorry for party rocking, as Naruto slammed the door in the man's face and walked back into the party. Chuji was at the buffet table eating from a plate piled high with different kinds of food. Tsunade was having a drinking competition with a hyuga. Shikamaru was sitting elsewhere muttering troublesome but nodding his head to the beat. Jiraiya was at the hot spring trying to peek inside but got beat up by the ladies inside. Guy was expressing his youth by doing the worm on the dance floor and Kiba with Akamaru were running all over the place. There was another knock on the door, and Naruto opened it to see that it was the old man again, and this time he had the ANBU with him. Naruto Uzumaki, there's we're requesting you to do for us, said one of the ANBU. Yes, what is it? Asked Naruto. Finally I can get some peace and quiet, thought old man with a smirk. Can we join in on the party, man? The man's jaw dropped while Naruto smiled widely and opened the door. Sure thing dude, right now there's a zebra doing the shuffle on the dance floor. At those words, the ANBU rushed while Naruto wiggled his eyebrows and was about to close the door. Wait. What is it now? If you can't beat them, join them. The old man went inside to take part in the party and was soon seen breakdancing with everyone cheering him on. And who says that you can't teach old dogs new tricks, said Kiba with Akamaru barking in agreement. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. Guys, make sure to help the author by visiting the link in the description. This is Fox Sage, and I'm signing off.